activity cannot, and sharp play, activity, and attack cannot be based on the enthusiasm. If you enthusiasm, you cannot start attack from first move. You need grounds. E4, E5, knight F3, F5. There is no ground for it. That's why black got punished. The other move is D5. That's also not something to be recommended. First of all, there is an ED move, and second, what I prefer is D4 simply, and I DE, knight takes E5. Now, what happened? Only making pawn moves only, and then we go bishop C4, queen H5. There is theory about this opening, but that's counterintuitive. It's unsound openings, and every unsound opening does not have to be result into a disaster. If opening is unsound, for example, on E4, if somebody goes F6 against you, you cannot beat him right away. You can just continue normal general development. You will be guaranteed a good size advantage. Now, when you play, for example, I had one game. E4, my opponent would play D5, and when I took ED, he played C6. I play DC, he plays knight C6. I'm sure a lot of you had it in the game that someone plays like, and if you didn't have it, I'm sure you have seen it. This is totally ridiculous approach to an opening and ridiculous approach to a chess. Black is less than half a move ahead in development. They gave central pawn. Is it worth it? Absolutely not. How can we play? We can play knight F3, E5, D3, or bishop B5, or bishop B5 and knight E2, D3. How can this be worth a pawn? There is no way. And I tell you more, it's not even worth spending time on it. It's not even this kind of play is not even worth it to spend time on it. So this is not sound way to play for black. But now let me tell you something. White can allow a lot. White can get away with a lot more than black. Since white has the advantage of a first move, white can come up with all kinds of weird and unorthodox ideas and get away with it. Why? Because normally white tries for advantage. Okay, white tries an advantage. Here is Sicilian defense. White should try for advantage of million different ways, and we know we are not going to get into Sicilian defense. But lately, one Russian grandmaster, Zvyagintsev, and he is very strong grandmaster, he came up with one idea. And a lot of players of all different qualifications all started following him. And ideas invented by grandmaster are very contagious. A lot of other players, they pick up these ideas for several reasons. One reason is that's a grandmaster and he wouldn't play it if it wasn't good. Very bad approach. Secondly, he shows the idea. I like idea. But why did I like idea? Because it was invented by a grandmaster. If this was invented by a class G player, then this idea would not be that attractive. So I have different approach to this. Anything I think counterintuitive, I think is wrong. If it was played by very weak player or by the best player in the world, I think it's wrong until they prove it to me that it's very sound and it is good. Now, if Kasparov played here knight a3, I'm not going to say, you know what a genius, what a move. No, I would say this is a bad move. I don't really care who made it. Knights been proven stand a lot better on c3. And knight a3 is the move that was invented by Zvyagintsev. This move has an idea. I absolutely agree with what with him that there is an idea. But do I agree that this is a good move? No. Idea of this move is such: if black goes d5, then white can take, queen takes d5, knight f3, followed by bishop c4 or knight c4. This knight on a3 move can be justified. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So, and what happened here after knight a3? Suppose we go g6, which is the most logical move. After g6, white goes c3 and prepares for d4 with the idea of knight c2. I was quite shocked when I saw how many followers this idea had. Idea had a lot of followers. And now I'm quoting this game that was played very well and by my student Eugene Perelstein on c3, bishop g7, and knight c2, simply d6. Now white played knight f3. White is going to go d4 eventually. Knight f6. Now white plays bishop b5 check. The idea is to play queen e2. Pawn has to be protected, but before they play d3, they want to play bishop b5 check. So that makes sense. Knight bd7, queen e2, castling, d4, a6, and on bishop d3, b5. Well, this center does not move very quickly with knight on c2. Knight on c2 now, what does it do? It only protects the d4 square, which is already protected more than enough times. The threat is c4 to trap the piece. So after b5, white played knight e3 to prepare retreat square for the bishop. C takes d, c takes d, bishop b7, and now the e4 pawn is hanging. Now knight c2 back. This doesn't look like the way to play chess. And after knight c2, e5, d5, and knight c5. Well, in my opinion, and castle, in my opinion, this is very bad position for white. Black simply played rook c8, which is good move, but black has various other continuations. They can play bishop takes d5, which is not bad at all. E takes d, e4. Opening positions, then d5 pawn is going to be weak. We're going to get the piece back right away. This is one continuation. The other continuation that is also very good, knight takes e4, and after bishop takes e4, f5. You see, black's pieces are so much better placed. We're going to get the piece back now also after e4. This is quite bad position for white. Eugene played rook c8, which is also a very, very good move. And now game practically was over in very few moves. Okay, what can white do here? All these threats are still remaining, and white played knight d2. Now knight e4 doesn't work, and knight d5 doesn't work, and bishop d5 doesn't work. But then knight h5. Now it has more problems. Knight f4 is threatening. White's knights on d2 and c2 very artificially placed, and position is totally lost. Knight b3, then knight takes d3, queen takes d3, and f5. After f5, white played f3 and lost in a few moves. F takes e, f takes e, rook takes f1, king takes f1, and queen h4. Black could easily have resigned here. Rook f8 is coming, knight f4 is coming, h2 pawn is hanging, and there is no defense. Very well played game, but again, well played games normally are simple games. What makes them well played is iron logic. Logically exploited every weakness, every wrong point of the move that was made. Well played game by Black.